George, I was not going to talk about this news story, but apparently people are doing stupid butt things because of this news story, so now we have to talk about it.
Yes, so we're not a news network, but we wanted to maybe quelch some of the fears that are out there that have been sparked due to the SVB fallout. So for those that don't know, Dave, can you do like an explain like I'm five as to what happened with the Silicon Valley bank collapse?
Yes. Okay, the Silicon Valley Bank was collapsed on last Thursday, I guess it was. The reason was pretty simple. Number one, you need to understand this about their bank. That the vast majority of the customers in that bank were hedge funds, venture capitalists, and tech startups. They were not mom and pop. Granny's CD was not over at this bank. That's not who they catered to. Okay? So to put that in perspective, FDIC Insurance of $250,000 covers up to $250,000. The government covers your deposits in the event of a bank failure. All right. The typical bank, it covers 75 to 80% of the deposits. In other words, rich people have $500,000 or $800,000 or $1 million or something in your local bank, but most people are $250,000 and under. This bank was the inverse of that. North of 90% of the deposits are not covered. That means these were all multi-million-dollar customers sitting in that bank. So these were players, and they done got caught. Okay, this is what happened. So this does not affect your local bank at all. It has almost nothing to do with your local bank. It's a bunch of Silicon Valley tech startups and venture capitalists from all over the place. I mean, I know I've got two friends in Nashville that are venture capitalists. They had money in that bank, lost money. Okay, and but they play us. All right, they're not. This is not Granny's CD, for God's sakes. All right, so your bank is safe. Calm your butt down. This has nothing to do with that. And what happened was, typically what banks do, this bank included, in order to have a stable balance sheet, a balance sheet that is very safe to back up the deposits, is they will buy bonds. Now, if you didn't know, bond interest rates have an inverse relationship with bond prices. What that means is, as interest rates rise, bond values go down. So they had a whole bunch of bonds that they bought when interest rates were 1.7, 1.8%. Interest rates are currently about 4% on the bond market, which means their bond portfolio had gone down in value dramatically, and they had billions in bonds.
So on paper, they had lost money.
So on paper, they lost a ton of money. Well, then they got scared, and a couple people got spooked, and they start unloading a bunch of those bonds, and then the rumor mill kicks in. The venture capitalist boys come flying in like they do and start scarfing the money, and they close the bank.
And that's what the bank run is.
They close the
when
bank.
All the customers show up
So
at
your
once.
local bank, A, is going to cover the vast majority of depositors. You're fine. B, there's not a bunch of players in your local bank. That's not who's dealing in there. Even freaking Bank of America, which I hate, and I don't know why anybody would do business with them. They're horrible. But even they have it's like 40% of their deposits are covered, right? And it's like these guys it was all rich people, super rich people in there. So it's just, number one, you wouldn't have money in a bank. So bond interest rates have gone up, bond values have gone down. Consequently, though, due to the bank crash and the closing of this bank, then they closed two others just like it because they were afraid they were going to. FDIC gets to pay for all this crap, and the FDIC starts shutting it down. When they smell anything looks just like this, they shut down two more, right? And took them over. They'll sell off the assets. They'll collect all the money to recoup the insurance. If there's any money left after the insurance, and there won't be, then they will distribute that to the people, the depositors. The stockholders will get zip. Which is exactly what they deserve.
It was trading at $250 a share.
This is
now
called
it's zero.
capitalism. When you screw stuff up, you lose your money. That's for those people that are in that bank. That's what happened. And they knew what they were in. Every one of them knew what they were in. Again, your grandmother's CD wasn't over there. You're okay. My local bank is fine. I've got deposits in excess of $250,000 in my local bank, in excess of all the limits in my local bank. I am not worried about it one iota, not a penny. Okay. But the great news is the bond market freaked out because they kind of caused this with the interest rates going up, and bond interest rates dropped. Bond prices went up. Translation, your mortgage rates are cheaper today than they were this time last week. If you were going to get a mortgage in the next month or so and get a house, run to your mortgage company before all the dust settles on this. This is a great time to get a mortgage. Go to Churchill Mortgage today and lock in your mortgage today, because this is an anomaly. It may settle back up by 2 weeks from now. All right. But it dropped a quarter to a half, depending on what kind of mortgage you're looking at, because bond interest rates went down. Bond prices went up because these dubers were flooding the market with their bonds, and the bond people went, oh, look at us. We support all the local banks, because almost every local bank everywhere buys bonds to put on their balance sheet to, quote, stabilize their balance sheet. It only stabilizes their balance sheet, which is the great joke of the bond market, if the interest rates are stable. But when interest rates go up from 2 to 5, guess what? Your bond prices go down.
And then everyone shows up at the bank.
And that bond you bought that was so stable now is worth less because you were betting on an interest rate market to give you a stability, and that was a dumb move. So here we go. All that to say, get your mortgage right now. Go to Churchill Mortgage today. And if you're thinking about buying a house and you're just kind of on the fence, this is going to be your month, baby. This is going to be the time to jump in. Jump online, get you an ELP with real estate, whatever it is you got to do here. This is the time. And people are going and buying gold, George.
Oh, my goodness.
Banks are going to fail. It's like they live in the Wild Wild West or something. You don't know how the FDIC insurance works? The entire federal government would have to fail for you to not get your money out of your bank when you have less than $250,000 in your bank. Quit acting like you're...
Don't cash out
dadgum
your bank. Don't cash out your investments.
Everything on the internet's true. Abraham Lincoln said that. I mean, come on, guys. You believe every conspiracy theory out there. These banks are not on the wire. They're not about to collapse. It's going to be like 2008. 2008 was not a banking collapse. It wasn't what happened.
Don't fall for the fear. Turn off the headlines. There's a lot of fear-mongering happening right now.
Yeah. Calm down. Calm down. You may need to turn off the news. It's not good for some of you.
At least a week or two.
It's not good for some of you. You really react poorly to the wrong information. This is The Ramsey Show.